What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Crossroads with Cam. Today we have a very special guest, the one, the only pineapple soda, Bryan. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. I appreciate you having me on here, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. You're the one of my longest YouTube friends that ever out of anybody, because I've done YouTube for years now, and you were always the one that was also doing it this whole time. So,
Yeah, it's like we just kind of grew together, and man, it's been a journey. It's been a journey.
and that's why I was like, man, we haven't done a podcast together all this time, so we have to do it. I had to ask you to get on the podcast. So how you been?
I'm excited, man. I've been good, man. 2024 has been, it started off great, and I've got this energy going, and I don't want to lose that. So I'm just staying focused, keeping on that grind, because 2023 was it was a little rough, man.
I was ready to get into this 2024. It was like, it was time. We got to start, and then everything, kind of gets back into the groove here. But for the people that don't know you, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do and everything.
All right, so my name is Bryan Pina. Pina in Spanish means pineapple. So that's but for everybody everybody always asks me, they're like, why pineapple soda? And I'm like, okay, the pineapple is just my name in English. But the soda, I don't know. It just kind of happened. I was watching a lot of guava juice back in the day. I don't know if you remember him.
Yeah.
Like Alex Wasabi and all them. And I was like, you know what? I don't want to be juice. I'll be soda. And I was like 9, so it just happened. I stuck with it. It was catchy, and I was like, let's do it.
Bro, it stuck, honestly.
But yeah, I'm a lot into my filmmaking, video editing. I've always loved editing since I was like 9, like a kid, bro. On an iPad, just making sports edits. And it kind of grew into me, doing YouTube. And then I'm also very focused on my health and boxing, and we can get into all of that.
Yeah, so I wanted to start off, before anything, just talking about what you do with I Woke Up to a New Day.
Oh, yes. So I woke up to a new day. It's just like, look, I have it right here.
I love it.
It's my slogan. I start my videos with that. It's kind of like, I've always wanted like an intro. Like I would see YouTubers like I used to watch a lot of like FouseyTube back in the day, and he'd be like, good morning. And I'd be like, to the best family on YouTube. And I was like, man, like, what can I, do? And I was always like, you know what? Like, I woke up to a new day. And I don't know why. It just came to my head. I'm like, man, you get a new day every day. You get to make it better than yesterday. You get to just put your 100% in. So it's like, I'm going to use a slogan that can mean so much to me and then inspire more people. Mm-hmm. So, I started putting it on shirts here locally. I remember I sold a few shirts with my thing on it. And it was just, it was a cool thing to do in high school. Mm-hmm. And then, now that as I'm growing older, I kind of want it to be more of like a community. Like I want it to, when you think I woke up to a new day, you're like, it's something you live by. It's like not just a slogan, but it's like a way of living. So then it's like, if that can inspire all these people, and if you see it on a shirt, etc. I have a lot of plans for it in the future, but only God's timing, and we'll see how we go from there.
Yeah, bro. I bring it up because it's such a good slogan. Like even you're even inspiring me sometimes when I see those Instagram posts, because you have an account for it and everything. So when I see those posts, I woke up to a day. It's such a new day. It's such a, like you're saying, a way of living. It's not just a slogan. It's like every day is a new start. And a lot of people, every season, there's sometimes where there's bad days, but then just knowing that every day is a new start, I love it. I love that slogan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's just a new opportunity, man. And if God gave you that opportunity, why are you not going to use it, man? Exactly. Why would you not use it?
Exactly.
So it's just like, yeah.
It's awesome.
I'm excited. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, so this is the 4th episode of Crossroads with Cam. I don't know how familiar with you are with it, but this is basically my new thing of kind of bridging the gap between just my own personal life with my faith, and bringing it in all into one journey kind of thing, and just telling people about what I go through and how I handle things. So I wanted to ask you, since it is like a faith-based thing, I know you said it's God, you work under God's timing, right? So what's your faith background like?
Okay, so I love that you asked me this, and I just feel like
I gotta ask
everything everything in my life led to this moment. And I know it sounds so cliche and so odd, but I mean, I think I've always been I grew up Catholic, right? I've always had an idea of God, and it's like I don't know if you've ever seen those TikToks where it's like he knew of God, and then like it's like a picture of them like not living like living worldly,
Hmm.
and then it's like the next picture is like he knows God, and I'm
Yes.
like that's exactly where I'm at because although I knew I was surrounded by like the faith and understanding like I knew who God was, but like I didn't truly know, and
Yeah.
as of recently I feel like I've fixed my relationship with God, and I've like really been eager to learn and try. It's a learning curve. It's a
Yeah.
process, but
It's a journey.
yeah, man. Like I remember, look, I bought this is so funny. I bought this ring, right? And when I first bought it, it says "Man of God." And when I first
Hey.
bought it, I was like, man, like I can't keep jewelry. I don't know how you are, but like I lose it, I break it, I just can't. But I was like, you know what, I'm gonna buy it. And then I remember thinking like, oh, like it's starting to like fade out, and it's like getting all like beat up. And then I thought about it, and I was like, bro, I bought this when I started my journey with like God,
Mm.
and the fact that it's fading out now means that like I've just been a man of God for that long. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like
Yes.
I was
Yes.
like, whoa, like so I keep this ring and I haven't lost it.
Let's go.
So I'm
Yeah.
just
I
so yeah,
I was gonna say like you were just saying how it wore out, so you kind of knew like that's a sign of how long. That's the same thing with the Bible. I remember the last episode I talked about how if your life is a mess, it's because your Bible isn't. Because the more you use it, it's gonna wear out. So it kind of shows you where you're at, and that's like that goes along with that. So that's awesome. I do have a ring like that too. I love those rings.
wow.
But yeah, that's awesome to hear. I kind of have the same background where I knew of God. Like I kind of knew He existed, but I didn't know Him, because there is a big difference between those things, like knowing God and knowing of Him. Um, and the things that brought me the closest have been the struggles, honestly. Like, because it's easy to know and thank Him in the best times, but the worst times is where you really grow in those aspects. So I was just wondering, is there anything in your journey that has stood out to you?
Oh, for sure. I mean, earlier I brought up 2023 being like such like a butt year. Like, like it was just like it started off okay, but then like towards the end it just felt like everything was like kind of like boom, 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 and
Oh,
you're like,
yeah.
whoa, why is it all happening like right now?
Bro, I'm telling, yeah,
And
I know.
at that time, like I wouldn't say like my relationship with God was like there.
Hmm.
So it's like I feel like I had to like kind of I wouldn't say like rock bottom, like I had to like hit that to really go, okay, I need God. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
there's nothing else that can fill that void but God. So I
exactly.
was like, okay, like I see what you're trying to tell me, God. Let's do it. Let's do it. Cause I mean, not to get all like emotional or whatever, but so like later in 2023, I had lost my friend, and
Oh,
this is
okay.
like one of the people that I started like YouTube with, kind of like I you might even recognize from like way back in the day, those older videos. We would like record videos together, and he was
Hmm.
always kind of like there in them. And then 2023 we lost him, and it was
Man,
it was like a self it was a suicide, okay? So
okay.
it was like like that hit so hard because you kind of feel like you're like, man, like why couldn't I help him? Like why
Yeah.
do you feel kind of like a little guilt, even you had nothing to do with it, you couldn't control everything, but you were like, man, and like to this day it's like it's still kind of like it's still a
Yeah,
little
those
fresh. So
things
it's
all,
like I
yeah.
can't. Yeah, there's no real way of just going, okay, like I don't feel like you just put it behind you.
Yeah.
And then at that time, my grandpa was diagnosed with cancer as well.
Okay.
So it was like I was dealing with that at home because he was living with me. And then, having to go to, funeral and all that. It was just like it was a lot to take
When
in.
it rains, it
And
pours.
then you're right. And then a few months pass. My birthday comes around December 3rd, and then the very next day my grandpa passes away. So I'm just like,
Mm.
okay, what is going on?
Yeah.
And yeah, I was talking to God every now and then, but then it was like I still was like not there. Like I was just kind of talking to him because I was like, okay, like it's bad, like help.
Yeah.
But you like it's like, bro, like I wasn't living by that.
Uh
So it's
huh.
like how can I like ask you for help if I'm not like,
Yeah.
really truly like, you know, being the person I need to be. So then all that happens, relationship troubles, all that. It's like all at once, just
Oh
kind
yeah.
of boom. And I was like, yeah, I don't want to continue living in this like life of lust, of like
Hmm.
sin, of all these things. And it's like, I mean, we can get into details if you like, but it's just I'm here to be a vulnerable, so I feel like I can inspire more people
Yeah,
because
man. Whatever you
I
want
I
to say.
think yeah, I think it should be more vocalized and just be real. Like yo, like nothing's gonna like really fill that void but God, bro.
Yeah.
And I don't think you should need to like hit that bottom. You don't need to feel all that I felt to be like. I feel like if your life is like you're just like kind of lost, you're like okay, like I want to fix my relationship with God.
Hmm.
You don't have to go through like all that I went through to find him. Like this is me telling you, like the viewer, the person at home, the random person just scrolling through like
Right. They're
TikTok or
watching it for a
YouTube, watching
reason right
this.
now.
Yeah, it's like, bro, like you don't have to like hit that rock bottom to like find God. Like you
Hmm.
should be happy that you know this. Go find him, and you know,
Yeah.
everybody's story is different. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's just if you're going through that, man, then I pray for you, and I hope that you find that that peace, that
Yeah.
love.
So yeah, that's awesome. So it for you it was a bunch of stuff that like compounded, built on each other, and then you kind of had to turn to God, right?
Hmm.
Because that's similar to me. Sometimes there was moments where you feel like there's so much on you that you're not supposed to be handling it alone. You know, there's like a weird feeling that you kind of get, and you're like, if God's out there, He's got to be able to help me with this. And that's where those moments for me were like the biggest jumps in my faith, like to get deeper into my relationship with God, were when I had to turn to Him. So for some people, yeah, it does take something to realize things, like a perspective change. But yeah, for other people though, it could just be stumbling upon a video that tells them like God's there. It doesn't matter
Right.
what you've been through already or what you haven't. He's there, the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. So I think that's powerful to
Mm.
look at it from the perspective of now we're in this moment right now, but so is God. So no matter what the past said about you or the future, if you're scared about the future, He's right there. You know. So what do you think is the best way to go about the first step, kind of, if you realize that?
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I feel like the first step would be I think we can go into like the term lukewarm,
Mm,
like when you're 1 foot
it's a
in,
big
one
thing
foot
right now.
out.
Big topic.
Yes, and then especially people our age, Gen Z, and that's what. Oh, well, like before I even move forward with this, like I want to give you your flowers because like I feel like people need to get their flowers while they can still smell them. Like you
That's
doing
good.
this, this crossroads and all this stuff. It's like you're not just like you're doing it because you love it, right?
Hmm.
Like this is something that you're called to do. This, you're gonna do it. But like you're using your talents. Like
Yeah.
you know how to work a camera. Like bro, you set up all this whole meeting. Like I didn't. I
It
probably don't
took
know
a
how to do this.
while.
But it's like you reaching out, going, "Hey, look, I've got a podcast." Like you're doing what you know how to do, and I feel like that's like literally like so amazing. Like I'm giving you your
Thank
flowers
you.
right now. Like boom, boom,
I appreciate
because
that.
yeah, I feel like because like Gideon just left YouTube and stuff, and that was like
Oh
I don't know
yeah.
if you watched him,
Yeah.
but and he turned his life to Christ, and it's like it took me a little second. I was like, man, like I don't know, like is like YouTube wrong or like am I doing the wrong thing? And then I was like, but like if I feel like I can like bring people closer in my own way, like
Hmm.
let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's try it.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
everyone is gonna enjoy doing different things and have different passions and hobbies and stuff. But I think the coolest thing is that God and like He wants us to have fun. He wants us to do things that we enjoy, and what we don't think about enough is that those things can actually be the things that bring someone closer to Him. Like the fun things, I woke up to a new day thing. You know, if you're encouraging someone to wake up to a new day, that could be the day that everything changes. And if you don't have that perspective, then it could be different. But and I think it's just a point to bring up that you don't have to be like a pastor to make an impact on people. You know, like me for example, I
Exactly.
did YouTube. Like you know me, I've done YouTube all these years of just like fun stuff, like things I enjoyed, whatever I was doing in the seasons. But then now I'm trying to use those talents that I've built to make a bigger impact.
Right. And I mean, that's the beauty of it, because I also think, like, everybody's story isn't perfect. So it's like, my YouTube channel, at the end of the day, I want to look back at it in like 40 years and go, this was my life movie.
Oh yeah.
Here, kids, like, look at it,
And you
like,
get
show
to
my kid
see
or
like
something,
how you change over the years and stuff.
Yes, and it's like, look, this was before I knew God. This is, what I mean? See
Yeah.
how I changed, and it's like you don't notice it now, but in a few years, I'm like, wow, like I'm happy to see that change, and that's why I think it's beautiful that I have all those content, like all those videos on
Yeah.
there. Assuming YouTube lasts for that many years, but
That made me think of how the same thing in our lives, where when we're in something, we can't really see how we're changing as much as when we get out of it and look back and see the steps we took. Even if it wasn't
right,
big in the moment, you can see how much you change over time.
yep,
Yeah.
yep. So back to the question you had asked me,
Oh
I
yeah,
think you
sorry.
were. No, I totally. Yeah, I went off topic, but yeah, I think you just have to be real with yourself and discipline yourself. And I know it sounds kind of hard at first, but like I let go of a lot of things that I thought were filling those voids,
Mm.
and was like, you know what, I can't be one foot in, one foot. I'm stepping both feet in. I'm planting them in there in my faith, and I'm going all in. And bro, has been the best decision I've made, because I truly feel like fulfilled. I feel more like I walk around going, "Have a good day, man." Like, like even that little thing,
Little things, bro. It changed everything.
Yeah.
No,
So
that.
yeah, I just think you have to like go for it. Just don't want to do it and like just not do it. Like, nah, like it's like the gym. You don't just show up one day and go, all right, I'm buff. Like, no, you back.
Consistency.
Yeah.
You got to show up, because the same way that we get bigger in the gym and like make improvements or lose weight or build muscle, it happens in the process. You know how there's a process of like you break down the muscle and then you build it up. Like every time you work out, you're kind of breaking it a little bit. I think God actually does that with our lives sometimes. Like he needs us in certain situations so we can break to grow bigger than we were before.
Mm.
It's like an ice bath too. That's another thing it made me think of. You know how an ice bath is like it's like really hard to get in at first, and you just want to like put one foot in, but you really don't want to do it. I think it's the
Uh-huh.
same way with everything else too, because once you go all in, then it's like, okay, I can do this. But at the beginning, it's hard.
Bro, yeah, I recommend, if you're having this is so off talk, but if you have shin splints, throw yourself in an ice bath and watch how healed you feel afterwards. And that's, I feel like, a great analogy for faith, bro. Just go all in and
Yeah.
then watch how healed you feel afterwards, bro. It's
Ooh,
I feel like,
okay,
man,
okay.
there we go.
Go off. Yeah. All right. So to switch gears a little bit, I do want to talk about fitness and your journey with boxing and everything, because we both ended up boxing a little bit, and I just want to hear where'd that come from for you? Where'd that inspiration come from, and where do you think it's going to take you? So just both of those things.
Awesome. So, honestly, I started boxing I bought a heavy bag and I put it
Hmm.
in my tree outside,
I
just
see
for
you
weight
working, bro.
loss.
Like I see you working.
I was 220 pounds, I think, or something like that. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with being 220, but I personally didn't want to be there. I was like, this is not, I don't feel healthy. I don't
Hmm.
feel good. Like, I want to, like, there's something, I envisioned myself living like a better life than that. And I was like, okay, like, that's not what I want to be. So then I just started working it, losing weight with that, and then skipping rope. And then I was like, I'm hitting the bag, I'm skipping rope. I'm like, man, let's try this boxing stuff. So then I just kind of slowly started working out more, joined the gym, and I was just, I just kind of just fell in love with it. And I think I have like a very like, if I really like something, I'm gonna get like kind of like obsessive about it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna like want to like continue to grow and learn as much as I can. So, if I'm not working out in the gym, I'm working out the mind. Like, I'm looking at tapes, I'm like seeing all this
Hmm.
stuff, learning about the grades, Roberto Duran, all these people, like, and it's just like you take all this info in, and you realize like, yo, I really love this. So I don't know what the future exactly holds for me in boxing, but I see myself doing amateurs maybe. I see
Oh wow.
myself maybe going pro one day. All these YouTube influence events. Shout out you. You did one. um,
Yeah.
it's just I'm not rushing anything. I'm not feeling pressure to do anything. Of course, boxing, like there's people that start when they're really young.
Yeah.
I guess we started kind of late in our careers, but I see a lot of progress. People see a lot of progress, and I'm putting it in God's hands. But I really do think that there's some sort of future with me in boxing. Yeah.
Yeah, your journey already though, the weight loss is so like so many people can get inspired from that. So like if you're watching, go check out his Instagram. Where can I find you on Instagram?
So if you want to see more of like the motivational stuff, it's at iwutand, IWUATAND. And then if you want to just see my personal lives, it's yt.pineapplesoda.
Yeah, because that stuff he posts a lot of good inspirational things, and even just his working out. Like, bro, I saw your change over just from watching Instagram and stuff. I saw your change. So like, props to you for the work you put in. And I think it's important because when we're fit physically, it goes into other areas of our life. Because like one thing, the most important thing I've learned from boxing over these years I've boxed is discipline. Like I've gained so much discipline from the sport of boxing. And when you're disciplined in something like that, it's that much easier in other areas to start to have the same habits of showing up even when you don't feel like it.
Right. I agree with you. Discipline was it's something that I try to like anytime I talk with somebody and they're like they feel a little lost. I'm like, man, just discipline yourself. Like
Mm-hmm.
I know it sounds a lot like it just sounds like something like somebody would say, but it's just like, bro, it's literally the truth. Like
Yeah.
when you put yourself under that pressure of like wake up early or go to sleep late because you're putting in that work, you're like working out in the gym, you're putting your body through like some sort of like your heart rate's up. Like
Yeah.
you feel all these little things and it's like, okay, like I'm doing this because I envisioned something. When I was 220, I couldn't see myself at 165, which I'm at right now.
Wow.
And now that I'm at 165, I want to go to 150. And it's just like,
Let's go.
yeah, so it's like, it's definitely possible if you put in the work. And like, bro, you're going to look a little crazy because like somebody asked me about my schedule and I'm like, oh yeah, like I wake up, I do my faith stuff and then I'll go to work and then I'll come home, shower really quick. I'll go to the gym. I like to shower before the gym. People call me crazy.
What? I've never. That's the first person I've ever heard say that. So wow. Okay.
Yeah, man. I like to show up fresh because I know I'm about to get in.
I get it.
And then right after that, I come home and shower again. Of course, I can't go sleep. and then I'm editing, and it's like to somebody else it might be like, okay, this guy's crazy. Like, why are you doing all this? Why are you editing at like 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning? Like,
Yeah.
it's like you wouldn't get it if you're not in it.
Mm.
But I know that's what I want, and like that's my form of discipline. Like your discipline might be don't drink caffeine or don't do this or don't do that, but it's literally all up to you. And I think I tied that really into my faith because I mean I mentioned lust earlier, but like that was a big thing for me,
Yeah.
just from like a young age where you're like, you kind of like see things and you're like, okay, like you kind of rot your brain a little
Oh, yeah.
bit.
Our generation,
And then
especially with social media and stuff, it's just so easy to get off of
it's
that.
so accessible. Even if you're not looking for it, man, you'll go on Twitter and
I
you'll
know.
like get on. You're like just watching a random post about anything, man. Like Drake dropped a new
And
song.
something
You're like,
just
okay,
comes
and then
up.
somebody in there's promoting something else, and I'm like, it's so if you're 8, 9, 10, 11, like you're just like, whoa,
I
like
know. I know.
So it's like I think to me that was a big thing because I let go of a lot of things. I unfollowed a lot of like I removed myself from
Mm.
things that I knew weren't gonna like lead me to the path that I wanted to. So it's
Wow.
like let go of all that stuff, discipline yourself, and it's gonna be a little hard at first because like you want to like still be entertained by certain things, but
Yeah.
you don't need that entertainment, man. Yeah, that's not gonna fulfill you forever.
Man, that's awesome that you said that because that's something that the Bible talks about when it goes into if you're I forgot if your left hand causes you to sin, then cut off your left hand, or if your eyes cause you to sin, then take God your or whatever. You know what I'm talking about? And you're taking
Man, we'd all be walking around here.
you're taking those steps
We-
though, like already by unfollowing accounts or doing these things. That's kind of what I get from the Bible passages. It's kind of talking about. It's not like literally like like
Right.
but the way that things plague our mind, so many intake so many things from all the social media. When you unfollow accounts, that is showing your discipline. So that's one thing.
Right. And I mean, it doesn't. I think this is why I like that you like are trying to like reach the Gen Z audience, because it's like if somebody else is watching, they're like, why is this kid unfollowing people? Like, what is that like? You wouldn't get it, but yeah. So I mean, the times are changing, so we have to like you're doing a podcast, because podcasts are they're hot right now, man. So it's like
in our generation.
wow. Yeah, why would you not want to have a podcast that leads people to God, you know? And I think that's what you're doing, and that's why I'm like I'm happy to be on here. It's like wow, like I'm the first guest.
You are the second guest.
Second
I had
guest,
my brother
dude.
last week, and then so
Awesome.
You're the first like out of my family guest. So yeah.
Okay, cool. Dude, I gotta catch up on the brother podcast. I didn't see that one. I saw your first one. It was really good.
Thank you. Yeah, I think there's a big opportunity with just because we're all on our phones all the time, like our generation. I've always had my heart was always in my generation. Like I wanted to help the people that are struggling like me in the same situations, the same stuff. And like you said, podcasts are popping. So it's a good way to reach people in the right way. And that's just one way of doing it. But there's a lot of different things you can do. So yeah, that's how that happened. But I'm glad to have you, because I think God put you in my life for a reason, and people that He put us together for this episode for people to see. Even if it's like a small thing that they take away, this was happening for a reason. So that's why I just I had a feeling I wanted to get you on. So here you are.
Right. And it's so funny when you made it. It's like the perfect timing for me. I don't know. It just that's what I'm saying. It's just like right.
Yeah.
Because who would have known 4 years ago when we first started like making YouTube videos together? Like,
oh, I know.
It's so I don't know.
And we're
man.
still talking. Like that's kind of incredible. A lot of like YouTube friendships like that, it wouldn't like last, but this did for a reason. So it
just always felt genuine. Right.
Okay, I'm gonna go back a little bit, because you said when I was asking you about like your discipline, you went through your routine a little bit, and you said you do your faith stuff first. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
So what does that look like for you?
All right. So just from like I know people like to pray at night and stuff, and I do too. But I like to start my morning just straight into it. Like I like my day to like if I let my day be ruined, and then I like put it all aside and don't put my faith first, it's like by the time I get home tired from all day, I might just not open my Bible. You know what I mean? Or I might not just talk to God. So I make sure I get my prayers out the way. I get like not out the way, because I don't want it to seem like a task, but it's just like I know like I wake up and like thank you, like I woke up to a new day. Like that's
there you go.
It feels so it feels like just the perfect time to do that. And me being the guy behind the slogan, like it just makes sense for me to wake up and go, all right, gratitude. Yeah. And then it's like I pray about just certain things that might be going on, and if I'm trying to like get to a milestone on YouTube, I'll be like, God, like like this is one of those things where if this is what's meant to happen, then let everybody that follows me like be led to you. Like if not, I don't care about the numbers. I don't need them. I need you. But
no, but it's good to still ask for things though, because ask and you shall receive. The Bible says like knock and the door will be open to you. He wants us to ask. I think I'm gonna interrupt you real quick. I think a lot of people think that it's wrong to ask for things, but the Bible literally tells us like ask God for what you want. It's not a bad thing. It's just if you give Him the honor and the glory first, He'll sort out everything else, and you can just ask Him, and He'll put the things that are meant to happen in your life.
Right. I agree. No, and then the other day I was talking to a friend, and she was like, "I've been praying, and it's not like working." And I'm like, "Whoa, how long have you been praying?" And she was like, "A week." And I was like, "Yeah, it's gonna take a lot more than that." Like, like there's certain things that I've probably been praying for months about, and maybe they have been being answered, but just not exactly the way that I want it to be. Yeah. So it's like you kind of have to just continue to like trust in that and like know that it's working, because when the time is right, God will make it happen.
That's a verse actually. That's so funny. I just screenshot that yesterday that you said that. It's which verse is
I forget exactly which one.
It's Isaiah 60. It says, "At the right time, I the Lord will make it happen." So yeah, it's all His timing. And when we trust it, though, that's when things get better, because God answers prayers in 3 ways. It's either a yes, no, or not yet. And the not yet is the part that gets people like,
Right.
it's the hardest part because it's hard.
And if you sorry,
No,
no,
you
go
got it.
ahead. And then, like, if you pay attention to like the stories in the Bible, like a lot of them are just waiting. Like it's literally like a big waiting, like a story of just waiting. Like, and I'm talking years. but I think that like patience, because mine was like, that was one thing for me. It's like, wow, I need it to happen now. Like I need this now. But once you trust it, it doesn't feel like it's been months. It just feels like you've just been on this like journey of like it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
When it needs to happen. But
that's a tough pill to swallow. It's our generation is, I keep saying that word, our generation, but like us, people our age are all about instant gratification and like instant, I want it now because of like TikTok and stuff. We're always like, okay, next, I want this, I want to see this, I want to do this. Let's go do that. Like it's all about like the things. So when we don't get something in our time, when we don't get it when we want it, we kind of get impatient. Like me included. It's hard when you don't get the answer right away. But just know, you and everyone else watching, like if we don't get it right away, God is probably protecting us from something that we weren't ready for.
Right. So, and then I think about it, I was like, imagine I would have blown up on YouTube a few years ago, like I would not have handled that correctly. I feel
like I wouldn't have been mature enough to even. I'm still working on that,
Right. And it's like, man, if I've always wanted to inspire people with the thing, it's like maybe God just knew it wasn't the time, and maybe right now isn't the time either. I don't know, but slowly I feel like I'm getting there, and whenever we get there, man, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I know. And another thing, in the waiting, in the process, God says in another part of the Bible that we need to use what we have the best we can. And like that's like the story of the farmer and his workers or whatever, where he goes out of town, gives one of them one bag of gold, 1 5 and 1 10, and then one of them just buries it because he's scared to lose.
Yeah.
But the other one takes it and multiplies it. But it's all the moral of the story is like use what you're given, and you'll get even more added. Because like right now, I probably have 7 subscribers on this new podcast, so it's not like I'm like at the level where it's impacting millions, but because of if it's 7 people watching, if there's 7 people watching, that has a domino effect. It plants a seed. And that's what can like keep building, like a flower.
Right. I know, I agree with you, because it just takes one person to go, wow, like that was deep. Yeah. And then they find their faith. And then now they're talking to somebody at the grocery store about it. And then it's like, boom, boom, boom. And you will probably never know how much you've impacted somebody's life. But you will know, because I feel like it all comes back like full circle. Like somebody was probably nice to you because you were nice to somebody else, but you didn't realize that it was a big cycle that led right back. Like you will never know. Like
God is constantly working in other people. It's just always something's going on, even when we don't see it. Like those little things really do mean a lot. Do you have anybody in your life that has like had an impact on your faith?
Bro, you.
That sounded like I was asking for that. I was not asking for that.
No. Okay, so no, like for sure. I mean, if we're talking like social media wise, like for sure you, because like you've always kind of like, I wouldn't say always, but you like would post about God, and stuff. And it's like maybe I didn't like fully like kind of grasp it, but now like I appreciate it because you always kind of like. I feel like maybe God put your post on my feed for some reason, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, it would just pop up and you're like, quick church. And I'm like, okay. Camden's screaming at me about God. But then like, now it's like, okay, like now it makes sense. So definitely like people like you, and I mean, just in general, like for sure. Oh man. Like past relationships, of course. Yeah. Like I said, one of my big things was like lust. So it's like, I feel like I had to like let go of that, because in a way, like I feel like it ruined like my past relationship, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't like how I was like I didn't like that for me.
Mm-hmm.
So then, when things ended off, like, bro, like, this girl was like, you gotta find God, like, you gotta, like, I was like, yo.
Hey.
So I don't want to just like credit, but like it in a way, like it was
Hey,
like
we learn
it was
from
something I needed to hear.
every
Right.
relationship or every friendship. We learn something from each one, even if it doesn't end up
Right.
sticking through. We learn something from it. So
Yeah.
hey,
And then those words stuck with me, and it's like like we're cool still, but like I hope like she sees like that that kind of change or whatever, and like yeah, I'm not doing it to like for that person, but I am doing it like for me, for
yeah.
trying to like find me, and then I don't know what the future holds, man, but what was that story with Jacob and what was the name? Oh man,
Are you
the guy
talking,
that waited like
talking about the Bible?
14 years. Yes.
There's a
He
lot
waited
of
like
stories like that.
he waited like 14 years, bro. Basically, the guy waited like 14 years for that girl, but like I'm just saying, like,
Hey.
what I'm saying is like if it's meant to, like, God knows, man, it's all in
Yeah.
His timing, and yeah, I'm definitely a better person than I was during those times,
Oh yeah.
So it's like it's okay to be real with yourself and go, okay, like, yeah, what you the way you're living ain't like it's not the right way.
Mm-hmm.
So then you adjust and you fix, and you're like, okay, like, I see it, I recognize it.
What's cool about what you just said is you were inspired by what you didn't like about how you were. You didn't like something, so you wanted to change, and that's cool because a lot of the time we have things that we're not happy about in our life, and we want. Actually, some of the biggest like stories were in famous people are because of something that either someone else said about them or something they didn't like that inspired them to start something or change something. So even with your story right there, it's like you didn't like something, so you went with the next step of, all right, I'm going to try to change. And every situation has that potential. So.
No, I agree. Yeah, I mean, I don't want people to think I was like a horrible person. Like, no, like I'm probably.
No, we all have things,
a,
though. We all have struggles with different kinds of things, and
right.
And it teaches us even after the moment when we're looking back, we see like, okay, I actually grew from that.
Yeah, I think mine was just more of like I knew I had something great, but like I was like trying to like I can always have more, So it was one of those things, and I was like, for me, I feel like the root of it was the lusting. So it's like I don't need another woman, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, so I had to let go of all that, and then I think like it was just a big lesson for sure.
Yeah.
But you can place it into like a bunch of different like aspects of like your whole life. It's like you don't necessarily need so much more. Like, you know what I mean? There's like a J. Cole song. It's like something about love yours, and it's like there's always gonna be a better whip. There's always gonna be a better house, but you're not gonna be happy till you love yours. So I was like, man, like that's so true. Like you don't need to seek validation from all these other things.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm being real, it was just being lazy with my faith. Like, yeah, that's I mean, I think
underrated one too.
Yeah, because I think I agree, because it's like you don't see it, but like yes, like there was obviously like the lust was a big part. I'm not discrediting that. Like I knew that I didn't like that, so I was like it was keeping me away from it, from living with it. But like just truthfully, it was just being lazy, because like the Bible's always been there, bro. Like you can go to Barnes and Noble, get a Bible. You can go to like, it's like, bro, like we don't have to like go and like we don't have to go to like Jerusalem and buy a Bible. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. It's right in front of us.
It's right in front of us.
It's on our phones.
Like,
it's on our phones.
Literally, there's apps, and like if you can't, there's people like, oh, I don't like reading, bro. Listen to it. But it's always been there. So it's like I was purposely just like not wanting to open it for some reason, or not wanting to like get to it. And then, bro, like I went one day, I was just like, man, I need to just go get one. So I went and bought one, and bro, like, no, I got sticky notes in it now.
Bro, let's go.
Just, like,
I love it.
Yeah, man. So this is like you, and then it's like I was intimidated by it because I was like, where do I start? But like,
oh yeah,
I just opened it one day and I was like, bro, how did he know that was what I needed to hear?
Oh, that happens so much. People think that I just say that sometimes, like it's just like a thing that people say, like God will talk to wherever you open. No, I swear it's real. It's
It's
so,
so
real. Has there
like
been...
it's almost scary because you're like, whoa, like how exact did that have to be? Like,
Oh, I know.
it'll be like exactly what you need to hear, and you're like, man.
Yeah. Has there been a specific verse that has helped you a lot, or like a part of the Bible or anything like that that stood out to you so far?
I have it on my boxing chain right here,
Oh,
and
really?
it's yeah. Oh man, now that I'm on the spot, I forget it. But it's I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
Let's
That's
go.
was it
Philippians
Philippians
4:13, right?
4:13? Yeah. So it's like that's like a big one because like if I'm ever like if I'm ever scared or something, like I'm like, man, or I'm at the gym and I'm like, man, this last rep I'm not doing it. I'll just like
I can
touch
do all
this
day.
and I'll remember it, and I'm like, all right.
No, yeah, I like
so
to,
that one.
That's the question I like to ask every time I have a guest, I'm going to ask them that question, because for me, there was like a specific time in my life where a one verse just really helped me out. It was Jeremiah 29:11. It's for I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord. That one. And everyone has what?
Is it plans to prosper or something like that afterwards?
Plans to prosper
Okay,
you,
yeah.
not to harm you. That one.
Yeah.
Plans to give you a hope in the future. But so that helped me in a really hard time in my life. And everyone, I think everyone has something that has helped them. And so I like to ask, I'm going to ask that question and just see like what's inspired them.
There's definitely a lot of verses,
There's
but like
a lot.
off the top, like that one for sure. Just because it's so like, it's just so to the point. Like, bro, like, you don't feel like you can do it? Yes, you can.
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just perfect. It's motivating.
Oh, yeah. All right. Last question says, I know we're kind of running late already. It's already 7 o'clock here. Last question I want to ask you is, what do you think Gen Z struggles with the most? And what was that sound? A car?
Yeah, somebody just zoomed by.
You're good. What do you think Gen Z, our generation, struggles with the most? And how can we fix that with our faith?
Okay. Ooh, this is a good one.
I know.
Okay, what would I think Gen Z
Yeah, your opinion.
struggles with the most?
Your opinion.
Okay. I think just there's too many distractions from like, because it's so easy to like find God when you really like are looking. Like it's if you look, you'll find. If you look, you'll find. But I think it's just us realizing that these other distractions feel great temporarily. Like, I don't know, maybe you have to let go of that one party, or you don't have to go to that one thing, or you don't have to sip what everybody else is sipping. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's definitely a good one where it's like just they're too distracted until a bad thing happens, and now they're all like, okay, like I've always needed you. Where are you at?
Like a wake up call kind of thing.
Yeah, and God's forgiving. God's gonna forgive you, but you have to like. And it's just funny because it's like, man, if somebody was like for like the past 18 years just disregarding you, not giving you no attention, and like they were doing bad, like they weren't following what you set them to follow, you would kind of feel a little salty. But God's not like that. He's just gonna forgive you.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So it's like, man, like you can't ask for nothing better than that, just because you're not perfect. So
Something
just
to be grateful for
I
every
think,
day.
yeah. And when you realize like how deep that really is, you're like, okay, like that distraction does not matter. Like I need to like really focus, and you'll start to see like the little puzzle pieces get together.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I think just too easily distracted, just focus. Focus, Gen Z.
All right. Awesome. I love it. Well, thank you so much for this conversation. We got to do this again sometime because that went by quick.
That was fun.
Yeah, we'll have you back in the future for sure. You'll be a recurring guest because you're awesome. Guys, if you want to follow him, check him out. I woke up to a new day. Pineapple soda. There's some other. I'll link the socials in the description. But Bryan, thanks for coming on. Any last closing comments?
Man, thank you for having me. I hope that these words touch the right people. And yeah, man, I'd be glad to come back. So anytime, I wish you the best, the success for this podcast. And I'm excited to see in a few. Man, one day we have to do this sitting down and face to
Oh
face.
no, bro.
I see.
Hey, look,
I see
look, I went to Houston and I tried to see you, and you couldn't see me. So now it's up to
I
you.
I know, right? Man, we'll make it happen.
Next
for
time,
sure.
though,
It's bound to happen.
If we're ever close, let's do a podcast in person. Like that would be awesome.
That would be awesome. And yeah, it's just I don't know. I'm excited for this podcast because right now you're at 7 subscribers. It's gonna be funny when we see it in like I don't know 2 years where you're like I don't know above Joe Rogan.
Yeah, we'll see. I love it though. It's fun. These things are fun.
Yeah. Well, yeah, man. Give me your flowers. Thank you for having me on, and I'm excited to see this.
All right, thanks guys for watching this one. Crossroads with Cam. Subscribe, listen on Apple Music, Spotify, and YouTube. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.